Ahoy hoy, welcome back to my channel. Um, I thought today I could have a story time about why I moved to Sweden. And it's going to have a little bit of background about how I came to meet my significant other. And a lot of you are probably wondering why I moved to Sweden and all this other stuff. Love. Simple. Love. I fell in love with the Swede. At the time, though, he was living in America, in Ohio, on a work visa. And yours truly was still living in Maryland. And we met in a chat room when Yahoo saw chat rooms. So yeah, it was that long ago. Especially since Yahoo did away with their chat rooms about 2012. So, God, I can't believe it's been 8 years already. But anyway, so I met him I met him when Yahoo saw chat rooms. And now, I didn't go to this chat room to look for someone because it's centered around a political issue that I'm not going to get into because my channel is not about politics. It's not about religion or anything about that. It's my channel to be comic relief for YouTube. Think of it that way. And so I knew him online for about 18 months. And I didn't see much photos of him. I saw maybe 2 photos of him from a site that he used to run, dedicated to the regulars that frequented this chat room. So I knew what he looked like, but he didn't post much pics of him. Because he's very camera elusive. Even though he's been in 2 of my videos, but you have not seen his face. You've just seen his body. So, in May of 2003, he was going to go to an acquaintance house in Virginia, and he was going to pass by where I lived in Maryland, and he asked me if we wanted to meet, and I said, sure. And we were meeting on the basis of friendship. Now, back in 2003, meeting someone from the internet was still taboo, to give you a hindsight. It was still considered to be very dangerous compared to today. People thought you were crazy for wanting to meet someone from the net rather than meet them first in person. However, and I think I said this before in a video, but the internet has given me a chance to socialize online because I do have social anxiety on a mild level. And if I would meet someone first in person, and this is a heads up just in case any of you meet me in person, I'm very shy. I'm extremely introverted. And not to mention, I suffer from a mild version of social anxiety. I would observe rather than engage because, I'm trying to learn somebody when I first meet somebody, but just observing them. I let them talk, but the thing is, they feel like I'm unfriendly because I don't talk much. But the thing is, I don't open up to someone I just met. I do that after I get to meet somebody. So that could come off as me being unfriendly to somebody. And because of that, I get paranoid. I'm like, they're not going to like me. They're going to think I'm unfriendly because I don't open up and I don't engage. I don't do small talk. I don't do any of that because I'm socially inept. I shouldn't say that about myself, but I have issues with socializing. And it's funny because I have no issues whatsoever, and this is the funny part, with performing in front of people. Sorry if I'm making the camera shake. I have never had stage fright. I don't care about performing in front of a lot of people. I get off on the adrenaline rush that I get from entertaining people. But when it comes to socializing among that many people, I freeze up. I want to stick to the sides. The only time I'm opening up is when I'm dancing. Dancing is a good icebreaker for me because I'm so confident in my skills as a dancer. And I'm not talking about the crap that I did. I shouldn't say crap like that. It's not crap, but the moves that I did in competitive dancing, I don't do, but I do other moves too, like hip hop and all this other stuff. Club dancing. So I flourish better on an online thing and like YouTube and stuff because I interact with the camera and it's easy for me to interact with the camera. Now I can do one-on-one, okay, up to a point, but for the most part, I like it better when I get to know somebody online for a while. It's faster that way to open up to somebody. And in a way that could be bad in itself, but I'm not like giving my personal, phone numbers out or my address or anything. You still got to be careful about that. But, I get to tell people what my passions are. I get to tell people what I'm into and not into and, all this other stuff that I wouldn't be able to do in person. Maybe up to a point. I mean, I don't think I would have any problems telling someone what I'm passionate about because I know what I'm passionate about. But other things, I would ramble, in other words, because there's just the thing about me also that you all need to know about that I don't know if I mentioned before is that I'm a pretty eclectic person. I mean, it's hard for me to choose one favorite thing out of every single category. It doesn't matter if it's a movie, food, TV show, music, book. I have so many favorites in so many categories. It's ridiculous. I mean, even my passions. I have 8 passions. 8. I mean, and part of it is I don't want to circulate my life around one thing because I might lose interest in it or I might, have something happen to me where I can't do it anymore. And I got like a taste of that when I was like 14 to 18 because my right knee, was acting up to the point where it was making dance difficult for me. And then I had to get surgery. And if it wasn't for my other passions to fall back on, I would have been lost. But anyway, I'm going off topic a little bit. But anyway, so after 18 months of knowing my significant other on a chat room, I decided to finally meet up with him. And we met in Maryland, and we went out for lunch. And then we went to this park near where I used to live, Allen's Park, and we just walked around and talked. And I began to, and it's unusual for me, and if I blush, I'm sorry, but to this day, all these years, I still think about that day really happily. But I would, normally when I'm around someone, especially if I have a crush on them or something, I get a little bit bashful and I'm shy and I won't make the first move. But with my significant other, it was different because I've been attracted to him on some level for a while. And just by talking to him, having conversations to him. I mean, a lot of people put, a lot of stock in physical attraction. And yeah, you do need that. But personalities being compatible is a lot more important in my opinion. I can't talk. Being compatible as friends is a good step to having something more in the future. And we had that. We were talking about all kinds of things because I like having my mind engaged. And sadly, I shouldn't say people. I say like a lot of people think this about me. Maybe they do, maybe they're not. Maybe this is something my paranoia is telling me. But I get the feeling that a lot of people don't think I'm a smart person. But the thing is, I like to learn about stuff. I like to talk about so many things. Because if I talk about one thing constantly and constantly and constantly, I get bored. And my channel reflects that. You all see it. You know, I don't stick to one thing. I do a lot of things. I review food, I review other products, I have story times, I read my novel for a while, I did stuff with my crutches, I did martial arts stuff with my crutches, I dance, even though you can't see much of that because of the music, copywriting and stuff. So I don't do just one thing, I do a bunch of things. Because I'm a very free-spirited person. It is hard for me to... It's hard for me when I feel contained regardless what it is and stuff. Although, not everything, but some things. Having said that, so I was attracted to his personality from the get-go. I felt drawn to him. And it was funny when I met him because he is like, at least the way I thought of it, he was like the popular guy from chat. And it was like when I met him, I was like meeting the captain of the football team. That's how it felt for me. Because that's how his popularity was in the chat room at the time. And so we meet and we talk and I'm just drawn to him and stuff. And rather than have him make the first moves on me, I was making the first moves on him. Like, I first was holding onto his, like, elbow when we were walking around, and slowly I began to have my hand, like, creep down to his hand so we can hold hands. And then I asked for a massage because my back was hurting that day. Oh my God, I have back problems at times. And I think it's from dance. I would have him massage my shoulders at least. And then we would get closer. That's like, when I was dating, that was my go-to method to break the ice, was getting massage on my shoulders. And then when he dropped me off at home, we had a kiss. But I don't consider that a first date because we were meeting strictly on the basis of friendship. But after that day, we apparently fell for each other more. And then a week later, we were a couple after our first date. So, 4 months into our relationship, his visa in the U.S. expires. And he couldn't renew it because his company in the States was having issues. So he couldn't get renewed, so he moved back to Sweden. And it took him like a few months after that point. But he officially moved back in December of that year. And I was feeling a lot of uncertainty about our future. And I was feeling a little bit devastated because I finally found somebody that I really cared and loved and would be devastated if we broke up or had to break up or whatnot. Because long-distance relationships aren't exactly easy to manage. They have a reputation of failing for a lot of apparent reasons. Because it is hard to have a long-distance relationship if you don't have certain elements in the relationship. And I'm not just talking about sex. I'm talking about emotional connection, the physical connection. You know what I mean? I had a few... He had his grandfather die. I had my step-great-grandfather die. And it would have been nice if we were there for each other physically. But we couldn't be because we were apart. And people miss that physical connection after a while. I mean, it's not easy. I mean, even though it worked out well for me overall, it wasn't easy to have a long-distance relationship. So for like the first 3.5 years of our relationship was a lot of uncertainty of how long we were going to last. Because, yeah, long-distance relationships just don't work out. And, but we made it work though. We took turns coming over to each other's places. I mean, the first time I went to Sweden was a few weeks after he got back in Sweden. And I was there for a month. Luckily, I worked at a job where I was an hourly student because I worked at the University of Maryland in dining services. And, back then, I don't know now, but back then, when you were an hourly student, you were off when there was no school. So I had a long winter break and as a student that mirrored my break as an employee. So that was one of the reasons why it worked out so well because I had a job where I was able to take a lot of time off to be with him. If it was like Starbucks or something, I wouldn't have been able to do it that well after a while. So, we alternated. Sometimes I went over to Sweden for like holidays, like Christmas or Easter or Midsummer. I mostly after 2004 mostly I began going to Sweden mostly in the summertime because I like the summertime in Sweden better than in Maryland. Maryland summers are fucking hot and humid. In Sweden, while there is a little bit of humidity, it's not brutal. So I went to Sweden mostly in 2004 and 2005 during the summertime. Again, when I was off. And then he would come over for the holidays like Christmas or Thanksgiving or something like that. He didn't have to come home for Thanksgiving, but no, did he ever come home for Thanksgiving? I don't remember. It would have been hard for him too because, Thanksgiving doesn't exist in Sweden, so they don't get the time off here. So I think it's more sense if he came home for Christmas and Easter and stuff. But anyway. Oh, my nose is getting stuffed up again. I'm getting near the end. So, we managed to have a long distance relationship for the first 3.5 years of our relationship because we kept going back and forth, and I was able to have the time off to do this. And of course, in Sweden, he has enough time too because they have 4 mandatory weeks of vacation and stuff. I don't know at the same time or they can take at different times, but usually most Swedes go on vacation during the summertime. And then at the end of my visit in 2005, it would have been September 2005, he asked me if I wanted to move in with him. And without any hesitation, I said yes. So we applied for my visa, and it was like at the time, it was a provisional visa. They don't give the full visas until after you've been there for 2 years. And I had to go to DC to the Swedish embassy there to interview and stuff because you need to get interviewed. There's an interesting story behind this. When I went down to the embassy in DC, I got directions from the Washington Metro site. And they're like, oh, get off at this station. And, but it was the wrong station. It was not. The freaking embassy used to be there, but it moved to a different location 10 years ago prior to when this thing was last updated on the Metro site. So I missed my interview that day. But I called them and told them what happened, and they got me rescheduled, and then I made it to that because I got the right location, and then I got the right station. Even though that station has steep as hell escalators, oh my god. Here's the thing, I'm afraid of going down escalators. I don't mind going up them. I have trouble going down them. And yeah, I just don't like it. But anyway, I managed, and during the interview, she asked me what was my significant other's father's name, and I could not remember other than it starting with R. And of course, I won't say it out loud, but suffice to say, I didn't get the right name. But that was the only interview question I did an oopsie on. And, he had to do an interview, too, in Sweden about me. So I had to pay a fee, and at the time it was $60. I don't know what the hell it would be today. And I got my passport back in 2003 when I went to go to Sweden the first time in December for Christmas. And then, So they told us initially that my visa would take 14 months to process. So I was expecting to go back to school. Not that I dropped out, but I graduated from Prince George's Community College with Associate's Art degree in General Studies. I know people are going, oh, Associate Arts degree. Yeah, and it's general. I end up not. I mean, if I graduated with theater like I wanted, I would not do what my major wanted me to do. Although in a way I am, since I'm doing YouTube. But I end up becoming a writer first, and then a YouTuber. But anyway, I don't want to get on that. So I was going to go to University of Maryland again because the first time I went there didn't work out well. Then I went back to Prince George's Community College, got my degree there. Then I was going to go back to Maryland and then try for the bachelor's in theater and stuff. Well, that didn't work out because what had happened was it took 5 months rather than 14 months to get my visa processed. We got the approval in April of 2006, and then Darling wanted me to move here. And so I moved to Sweden officially on June 6, 2006, or 06/06/06, or 666. Yeah. Poor Swedes. I think I'll talk about in another video how my experiences have been here as an immigrant, but I wanted to give you guys a background of why I moved to Sweden. And it's because I fell in love with the Swede. So, if you like this video, hit like. If you subscribe, I'll be happy as hell. And I'll see you all later. By the way, if you guys want me to do videos about something that you want me to do, just mention it in the comments or something. Not just my YouTube channel, but also mention it on my Facebook channel, my Facebook fan pages, and not just my main one, but you can do it on my book fan page as well. And I'm on Goodreads as well, so any of those places you have an idea that you want me to do, don't be hesitant to say it. The worst I can do is say no. Okay? I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.